Andy Ogles joins us right now, the Tennessee Republican congressman. You know, Congressman, you guys have taken over the House, and these are the kind of issues you do worry about. We don't know the details about this rival crypto exchange or crypto in trouble, but we do know that a lot of your colleagues, I don't know how you feel about it, want to rein this sort of stuff in, that it's the Wild West, some have said. Do you agree with that? It's too early to tell, and I don't want to catch you, unknown on these developments here, but that there does seem to be a government effort to sort of rein this stuff in. Do you think it's justified?
Well, I think it's the role of government to perhaps put up guardrails. But, the biggest problem that we've seen here with government over the last, couple of decades is they go too far. Think about Reagan. He said the scariest phrase in the world is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. I've never seen a problem that government can't make worse. And so I think whatever we do, whatever happens next, needs to be thoughtful in its approach.
I'm wondering, too, the backdrop of this, Congressman, I'm sure you're aware, and for the moment we're down about 360 points on the Dow. That could change in a heartbeat, as you know. But concerns now that it's one thing for inflationary pressures, at least in the eyes of some of the data, to ease. But now it's getting people to say maybe it's easing too much. Maybe the slowdown is much more pronounced than we thought. Retail sales weak, factory data weak, the kind of stuff you've been looking at and worrying about being weak. Now it's like 5-6-fold from what we thought. What do you make of it?
Well, this is an unusual environment, an unusual recessionary period. It's caused by the government putting too much money into the marketplace. And this is really, it's unprecedented when you look at the size of the amount of money that was spent by the government. So it's not surprising that we have unusual indicators as we move forward. But look, we're in an inflationary period. We're in a recessionary period. We are going to have a recession. The only question is how big, how severe. And quite frankly, what we need is the government to stop spending, to hold the line on spending, and then there's the path to grow out of this, but we've got to let the free market do what it does best, which is grow on its own.
The fear seems to be that we're coming to a brink that maybe the markets are anticipating, and that is we get a government shutdown over this debt limit thing on Thursday. It's unknown where that kind of thing goes. We do know from past experience, Congressman, it drags on a while, and that uncertainty is not helping the situation. Do you agree? Do you think that a government shutdown would be a bad idea?
Well, I don't think we have a choice as we move forward. Any debt ceiling increase has to include cuts. And so the whole idea that the sky is falling is really just kind of an empty threat by Yellen and others. Look, the United States is the engine of the global economy. Our currency is the global standard. So look, we have revenue coming in. We can afford to pay our bondholders. So, we move methodically, we move carefully, but, we're not going to be, look, if they want to play a game of chicken, we'll play a game of chicken. But we're going to do what's necessary to right this ship for the American people. For too long, the government spending has been out of control, and we must hold the line as we move forward.
So let me ask you about where we go with this, sir. And I'm just wondering, obviously, it's one thing now at this point to spot where we are likely now to hit up against the limit, and quite another to talk about the government having to shut down. You have a number of months, some say as many as 6 months, to sort of work things out, prioritize what bills you want to pay. I'm curious where Republicans would put their preferences right now. Obviously, you want to pay Social Security recipients, you want to pay Medicare recipients and all that, pay interest to bondholders on the debt. What have Republicans planned to do just in case?
Well, I think that's to be determined. There's ongoing talks right now. Obviously, we'll get into the weeds of that next week when we're back in session. But look, we've got to protect our seniors. We've got to protect our military personnel and our bondholders. But look, again, spending has been out of control. And the $1.7 trillion omnibus bill that was crammed down the throats of the American people didn't help. And so, look, it's Econ 101. When the government puts too much money into the economy, the backside of that's going to be inflation. And when you have trillions of dollars being spent over a 2.5 year period, the fact that we have inflation, the fact that we're steaming towards a recession should be a surprise to no one. And now to ring an alarm bell, again, is disingenuous. We've got a tough road ahead of us, but part of that road includes cuts to our budget.
All right, so as things stand now, you're going to use the threat of a shutdown to extract concessions from Democrats. I'm sure you've heard, Congressman, from the president on down, Chuck Schumer et al., that no, you just raise the debt limit, don't attach anything to it. You're not going anywhere with that. It just seems that the inevitable direction is a shutdown, but do you worry about a default?
Well, look, I think what you're seeing is, so if we have to, quote unquote, shut down the government, which really isn't a true statement, and we hold the line on spending, when you start talking about prioritizing payments, a lot of that falls to the White House. And so what you have is an administration that doesn't want this responsibility. Look, he ran for president. He got the job, whether you like it or not. But it's his job to do. And so as we move forward, we've got to cut spending. And look, folks, trillions and trillions of dollars have been spent over the last few years. That's unsustainable. Look, my wife and I, we have 3 children. They would love to have an allowance with no end. They would love to have a credit card with no top line, right? This is what the government's been doing, and enough is enough. We're going to have to come up with a budget. And look, when you look at the rules package, I was one of the 20 that held out. We created a process by which if you want to do a continuing resolution, that's fine, but it includes automatic budget cuts. Why? Because we know that is the path forward.
The way it stands now, that I just want to be super clear on this, we get the word out, I guess, midnight, tonight, Thursday at midnight, is when we're up against, that limit. Are you saying then that your plans or Republican plans to prioritize certain things, what would they be to prioritize? I guess that's what I'm trying to get out of you.
Well, again, to be determined.
Right.
We have enough revenues and cash on hand to pay our obligations. And so as we move forward and you look at the markets, again, you've got to, pay your bondholders, the Treasury, protect our seniors. So the things that we know that we have to do. But what that does, it gives the opportunity to go into this budget and start cutting. And look, we can't cut our way out of this recession. We can't cut our way out of this recessionary period, this inflationary period, and to balance the budget. We're going to have to grow out of it. So part of the job of this Congress is to get government out of the way of business so business can grow on its own. And so, again, there's no magic solution here. It's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. And when I say death, I mean death to this troubled waters that we're in now. But look, it's going to be bumpy for the next year or two, and that's okay because that's how we fix it. But we have to have the resolve, both Republicans and Democrats, to do the right thing. And quite frankly, this wokeness that swept our country, that's invading institutions, that's invading our military, those are monies right there that need to come right off the top. Let's invest in our military personnel, not a woke agenda.
Got you. Congressman, thank you for taking the time. I know I was throwing a lot at you there that just broke. You handled it flawlessly, and I appreciate that.